Hi, this is Kat with Beadaholique, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make a long lariat style choker necklace. Now we've been seeing this a lot in fashion, and I wanted to take the time to show you guys how you can get this look by using an already half finished chain. So we're going to be using this chain here to create the look. Now it comes just like this, so a lot of the work of those simple wire loops are done for you. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to personalize it a little bit, add a little pop of color, and finish it with some tassels. So you can see my example here, and this would be beautiful for a bridal because I wanted to add in a little touch of blue with those little pearls there. So this is the sort of style of the necklace, and as you can see, there is no clasp, so it's really just a long strand of simple wire loops and a nice little beaded kind of finished look. So again, you can sort of add in as many crystals as you want or other pearls or beads. It's just really, really wonderful. And it doesn't have a clasp, so you would sort of wear it and sort of loop it around to give yourself a little choker and then two long ends on the other side. And I've also seen people where they'll tie it in a knot here so that you can kind of get that offset little lariat style. So a really fun little thing to do, and so I'm going to show you how you can create that look in this video here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and lay that out of the way there. There we go. All right, so what we want to do is we're going to be using, like I said, this finished chain, and this is Czech glass, and those little beads there, they are 4 millimeters. So a really nice, lovely little size. So we're going to be adding in some 6 millimeter, and I have this beautiful olivine here. So we have 6 millimeter and 4 millimeter that we're going to be using. I have a pair of tassels to finish it off. And then the other thing that we're going to need is we're going to need some eye pins here, and these are 1.5 inches and they are 22 gauge. So that's all the supplies. For tools, what you're going to need is you're going to need a pair of round nose pliers, a pair of chain nose pliers, and today I'm using some bent nose pliers, and a pair of flush cutters. Because basically today we're going to be making a lot of simple wire loops and then putting it all together to create that style. All right, so if you have everything ready to go, we're ready to get started. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to take an eye pin here, and I'm going to string on one of my 6 millimeter beads. Now normally I would want to take and focus on the size of that little loop down at the bottom and repeat that on the top. But for 2 beads, what we're going to want to do is make a little bit larger of a loop because we're going to accommodate the caps of our tassels. So it's the same way, you just want to move a little bit further down. So normally you'd probably be about 1/4 inch or so in to make that simple wire loop, depending on the width of your round nose pliers. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to move a little bit more towards the center because I want a larger loop. So all I'm going to do is just sort of kick my wire back so it sort of comes back at an angle. And then I'm going to wrap it around my round nose plier and bring it across to create a loop. Now you can see that the loop is larger than the one on the bottom, and that's exactly what we want. So now I'm just going to take my flush cutters and come in there and snip off that wire. And I'm just going to set my little scrap aside. So we're going to need 2 pieces that are just like that. And go ahead and leave that loop open because we are going to be attaching our tassels to it. All right, so just to show you one more time here. And again, like I said, this is the same for when you are making even smaller loops. So we're going to do that in just a moment. All right, my large loop there, remove my pliers, and come in with my flush cutters. And set these 2 aside because those 2 are going to be special. In fact, I'll put them right up by my tassel. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take, again, another eye pin here. And I'm just going to straighten that with my fingers. And we're going to string on one more here. And now we want to start to make loops that are the same size as our little loop down there at the bottom. So again, we're going about just 1/4 inch in, making sure we're staying nice and parallel there. And we're going to wrap it around, bring it across, and come in with our flush cutters and snip it off. There we go. So now you can see that those loops are a little bit closer in size. Here, I'll put it down. And it's okay to leave your loops open because don't worry, we're going to start attaching them a little bit later here. But now what you want to do is you want to create 8 total of these 6mm beads here. So there we go. All right, so 7 more there. So I'm going to repeat this and then I'll be right back to show you the next step. All right, so I've gone ahead and created 8 of the regular size loops here. And then I have my 2 with my large loop. So I'm just going to kind of set that all aside. And now what we're going to do is we're going to kind of repeat that process here with the 4mm. Now for the 4mm beads here, it's going to be the same. We don't need those large loops, so we're just going to make little small loops just to kind of match the size of our other side of the eye pin here. So again, you can just see that I'm trying to just eyeball the size there. Don't worry if it's not totally exact, it will still work just fine, just the same. All right, so for our little guys there, we're gonna need 38 in total. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then I'll be right back. So I have made all of the components now. So of the 6mm beads, I have 8 here, and then 2 with the larger loops. And then of the 4mm beads, I have 38. And just to kind of show you guys, you're going to get extra of the 6mm beads, and you're going to have a couple extra of the 4mm beads. So if you wanted to add in from this, but just to let you know, if you did want to add more of the 4mm beads, you're going to need to just purchase an additional lot. All right, and the last thing I want to point out is I've been using the 1.5 inch of the eye pins there, but you can see from my scraps that you do have a lot left over. So what you could do is you could also use a 1 inch. I personally just like the 1.5. It gives my hand a little bit more to grip to make those simple wire loops just to kind of bring it around. But it's entirely your choice and whatever you're comfortable with. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to construct half of the necklace here. So I'm going to show you exactly the pattern I used for half, and then it's just repeated for the rest of it. All right, so let's go ahead, and I have one end pulled out here. So we're going to start here, and I'm going to start with one of my tassels here. So I'm going to take my bent nose pliers here, and my loop is already open a little bit, but we're going to open him just gently, just by twisting. We're going to slip on our tassel. And now what I want to do is I want to close that loop up nice and tight, so that it is closed up near the bead there. I'm actually gonna, there we go, much happier. All right, so now I'm gonna move to the other side, and I'm gonna gently twist open this end, and I'm gonna slip on my chain. Oops. There we go. And then just kind of come in, and this is why I like using the bent chain nose, because I really wanna make my loops as small as possible and just nice and closed properly. So I'm just kind of twisting it just to close it, and now I'm just going to give it a little tight little squeeze there. All right, so we have our first part done there, and now you can see why you need that larger loop at the bottom. All right, so next what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start to separate some of this chain here. So I'm going to move to the other side of that first black bead, and I'm going to, let's see, there we go. Open the loop here of the bottom one and gently give that a little twist. All right, so we're going to separate that. And now what I want to do is I want to add on one of my 6mm beads. I'm going to gently twist to open, and I'm going to slip that on and give it a nice little gentle twist to close. All right, so I'm going to move to the other side now. And I'm going to make sure that this loop is nice and closed. There we go. And now I can take the loop that I opened from my previous step here and add that on. Close my loop. All right, so now we're just moving all the way up here. So I'm just going to repeat that again. And the reason it's sort of a little floppy in my hands here is I'm just trying to make sure that I'm getting it on the right side of each loop to make sure that I am getting that I'm opening the loop on the right side. All right, and now slipping that on and just closing that up. And I'm just using my finger here, but you can absolutely use another plier to kind of help you with some of those loops as well. In fact, you can use your round nose pliers. All right, so slipping that back on there. So it's just kind of working your way up the chain and adding in the little beads where you want to. All right, so you can see how this is developing. I just kind of wanted to show you next to my example here that you can have those nice big beads there at the bottom. And you can actually see, because the green ones I think are showing up a little bit larger than the sort of blue ones here. So I just kind of wanted to show you against my example. All right, so we're gonna keep going here. And this is a really great little thing because it's just really repetitive. So the next part we're going to do is we're going to count off 7 of the black beads here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And on that 8th one, let me just double check, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yep. On that 8th one, we're just going to come to the end here and we're just going to open that little loop. Just the same as we've been doing. All right. So now we're going to add on 1 more of our large beads here. And again, these are the 6mm beads. So we're just going to open that loop, slip it on, close it up, and open the other side. Oops, I'll leave that one closed because I know that I opened the loop on this side. Go. Just scooch that bead down if it falls when you open that loop. All right, and close that up. There we go. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 1 of the black beads there, skip over and open that little loop. All right, and now what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to take 3 of our little olive beads and I'm going to create a little train just like this. So this is how you would do it if you didn't want to use a pre-made chain. You could just do it this way and just create all the little individual dangles yourself. So if you wanted a very specific color, or if you wanted to add a lot of colors and do various patterns, you could do like an ombre one that would be very pretty with a just graduated color. So this is how you would do that. And you're just kind of moving from loop to loop and just adding it all together in a little strand. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to add this to our loop there at the top. String that on. Close it up. Move to the other side there. Open and, oh, I did it again. We'll keep that loop closed. There we go. And just hook it on there. Move to the other side, close it up. All right. So now, just to kind of mirror that large one there, so we're going to do it again, and we're just going to skip over that first black bead, open up the loop, remove that, grab one of our 6mm beads here, and that loop is already open a little bit, so I'm just going to twist it a little bit more, move to that side, close it up, and I remembered that I left my other loop open now. Pick up this chain and slide it on. There we go. Close that loop. Okay, so here's what we have going on so far. So I'm going to bring you back up to my example here. So again, we're just going to kind of repeat that, and we're going to do 7 and then 3. And then here, let me bring this down here because I'm going to do a little bit of this off camera here for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 7 and then 3 and then 7 and then 3 and then once more 7, 3 and then 7 and 3, and then I'll show you how to do the last little part there. Okay, so I'm going to do that off camera and I will be right back to show you how to finish off to get to the middle, and then I'll come back again and show you what the whole finished product looks like, so stay tuned. All right, so just to reiterate the pattern one more time, I have a 6, a black, a 6, a black, a 6, and then 7, and then I have a 6, a black, and then I have 3 of the 4s. I have 1 black, a 6, and then 7, and then 3 of the 4mm greens, and then 7 of the blacks, 3 of the 4mm greens, 7 of the blacks, 3 of the 4mm greens, and 7 of the blacks, and then I finished off with 3 of the green 4mm. All right. Whew. Okay, so we've gotten this far. There's only one more little step to do, and then we're going to start to turn it around. Okay, so I've actually already separated 4 of the little pieces here from the black chain, so we're going to set that aside for the moment. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to alternate 1 and 1 for just a few beads here, because what I want to achieve is, as you can kind of notice, and once you start to make these and really try to test the size, what we're getting to is the section that will probably sit in front of the neck as we are wearing it. So what I want to do is I want to sort of alternate it because I want to get some more of those crystals in there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add a nice long length of the black in the center, because that could be a really nice little focal piece. But again, feel free to do it however you want. So all we're doing is we're just alternating here. Let me just find the loop I want to use. There we go. And we're just, like I said, we're alternating for 4 pieces here. And as you work, you just want to make sure that all those loops are getting closed nice and tight for you. And you could actually do a whole necklace where they're alternated like this. It actually does look really nice. All right. Okay, so now we have it where we've alternated 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm actually going to add 1 more of my 4mm bead here, my green. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to count off 29 of the black beads here. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. Okay. On the 30th one, we're going to separate. So we have a length of 29 beads. And I'm going to add this whole length here to the other side of that last one that I just added. And this length of 29 will serve as our midpoint. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go off camera and I'm going to finish the whole piece so that you can see the final result. But all you need to do now is just kind of reverse the whole pattern. All right, so I finally finished adding all of my simple wire loops together to create this beautiful chain. Now it just looks really deluxe and gorgeous, especially when you add in a beautiful color. So you remember how we started with just that plain black and gold chain? Well, we've added in just a little bit of green with flashes of gold and added on some tassels to the end. So this is just, again, it's really, really simple. It can be tedious to create, but again, it just is a beautiful little design here. So I'm going to go ahead and just one last time reiterate the pattern for anyone of you who is looking to create this. So we started off, so you can kind of see I've added the 2 tassels there at the bottom, and we had our 6, our 4, 6, 4, 7 of the black, added a large one, we had our black, we had our 3 there, 1 of the black, another large one just to kind of add some interest to the bottom. And then we get into 7 and 3 and 7 and 3, 7 and 3, 7 and our final 3 up here. And then, there we go, let me untangle that. So once we get to our last trio there, we just alternate for 4 of the beads, and then we finish it off with 29 of the black in the back there. All right, and again, just to show you from the project bundle that you'll receive when you purchase this at Beadaholique.com, you'll have leftover beads, a few of the eye pins. You might want to purchase some more if you want to add more, and you're also going to get a little bit extra of that chain. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you love making these. Absolutely, it's a great design to personalize for yourself. You can find all of these supplies and the tools and even more instructional videos by heading over to Beadaholique.com.